So my name is Oisin, and this is Kanchan, Hayley, and Marcus. Our idea is GMOs in your home, which is an exhibition that is designed to tackle public misconceptions about GMOs by making the whole process more transparent. So our aim for the project is to submit our idea to the Science Gallery open call for the next exhibition, The Future of Farming. So our presentation today will be, I'll start off with just address the question of what is a GMO and some examples of GMOs. I'll follow that up with just a brief point about the consensus difference between the scientific community about GMOs and the public perceptions of GMOs. Kanchan will then introduce the exhibition that we have today. She'll focus on the foods that are made using GMOs but don't contain GMOs themselves. Hayley will follow that up with foods that actually have GMO DNA that are available in Ireland today, and some points on the future of GMOs in Ireland. Marcus will finish the presentation today with the opinion collection aspect of our exhibition and what we hope will be achieved by presenting this exhibition. So, what is a GMO? A GMO is a life form that has had the DNA of another life form inserted into its own DNA. And these pieces of DNA, the genes, they can produce proteins within the life form, they can change the way an organism grows, and they can cause an organism to give off byproducts that can be used in agriculture, in farming, in medicine, in many different areas. So a couple of examples of GMOs include the glowfish, which I'm aware it doesn't look very appetizing, but luckily these fish are friends, not food. That's a Finding Nemo reference. A more agricultural example is the GMO orchard that we see a scientist working on here, which involves the creation of apple and peach trees that have had genes added into them. And the hope is that they will find a certain combination of genes that will make them more resilient, so they can be grown in hotter or colder environments, or they could be sweeter, or they could grow faster. So this huge potential of GMOs we've only really scratched the surface, and there's been many studies by health organizations across the world about the risks of GMOs. So in this slide, the middle two logos are of American companies or American organizations that have studied this, and they found no risks associated with GMOs whatsoever. But many people don't trust these results because it's well known that large GMO companies like Monsanto would partially fund many of these projects. And the reason we've included these other two organizations is because the consensus is global. Every single organization has found that the risks associated with GMOs are identical to any food on the market today. Unfortunately, the public consensus has not followed the scientific community. With the rise of the organic food movements, the natural food movements, we've also had the rise of anti-GMO charities and marches and blogs and magazines, and it's really stoked the flames of fear in the public at the moment. We see this in the most up-to-date opinion polls in Ireland, where 1 of every 2nd person that was interviewed claimed that they would not believe that GMOs would be safe to eat if they were on an Irish shelf. And the vast majority of people surveyed said that they would avoid a food labelled as a GMO. So our hope is that our exhibition will present GMOs in a new light, and I'll pass it on to Kanchan to do that.
So this is what the exhibition will look like. As the title of this project is GMOs in Your Home, we'll be presenting the products in a kitchen and bathroom environment. As people only see them in the labs, this exhibition is going to reinforce that these GMO products are Irish and are already in our own homes today. The exhibition is going to showcase products that are or contain GMO products in a way that is engaging, enticing, and facilitates discussion. It will be used to display medicine produced by GMOs, foods processed using GMOs, and foods containing GM DNA. We will walk you through the whole exhibition now. So surprisingly, this is insulin is a medicine produced by GMOs. It's used to treat diabetes. It's a challenge as people expect natural things to be good and unnatural things to be bad. But GMO-produced insulin is safer than non-GMO-produced insulin, as it does not cause any allergic reactions due to it being a true human match to insulin. Also, unlike animal insulin, which is extracted from pancreases of animals such as cows and pigs, and is expensive plus limited, the GMO-produced insulin is inexpensive and can be produced into larger quantities. So people can have access to medicine when they are in need. And this is a medicine cabinet. It contains 2 sections, one with human-produced insulin and the other one with the one with GMO-produced human insulin and the other with non-GMO-produced animal insulin. And you'll be asked to choose between them in order to see which one you would prefer. Another example of a product produced from GMOs is rennet. Sometimes foods are made using GMOs, but they do not contain GM DNA in it, so they don't need to be labeled. Rennet is used in cheese production, and traditional rennet is made from the stomach of young calves, and alternatives are rennet made using mold and GMO-produced rennet. As there are no animal products present in the GMO-produced animals, it can be used to produce vegetarian cheeses, examples of which include Cashel Blue and Ardrahan. Cheeses will be displayed on these wooden cheese boards on the further right, and people will be given a choice to choose one of them, and hopefully they'll be able to taste them too. Hayley will continue from here. Sorry.
So the next part of our exhibition can also be seen here. This will consist of a kitchen counter on which a range of Irish foods found to contain GM ingredients will be displayed. Again, the point of this kitchen setting will be to try and jog the idea that GMOs are, and increasingly will be, a part of our food chain here in Ireland. So certain varieties of GM maize, rice and soya are allowed to be imported into the EU currently. These are mainly used as agricultural feed, but they can also be used as ingredients in processed foods. As such, the Food Safety Authority of Ireland regularly carry out surveys to determine GM status of foods in Ireland. All of the products shown here were found to contain less than 0.9% GM content, and thus, in line with EU regulation, are not required to be labelled. However, some of these products were also found to have GM-free label types. So we want to include these products within our exhibition, as we feel that this potentially misleading labelling has a big role to play in the lack of transparency that surrounds GMOs. And we also think it is important to evaluate public consensus regarding the presence of less than 0.9% GM ingredients in common Irish foods. So the final part of our exhibition will be displayed in the centre of this kitchen counter. It will consist of samples of GM potatoes that we think have a big future in Ireland. Since 2012, Teagasc Natural Centre for Arable Crop Research in County Carlow has been carrying out field-based research on the growth of genetically modified potatoes with potential resistance to blight. Potato blight has had a strong significance in Irish history. However, in the last 5 years, increasingly aggressive strains of the fungus have emerged. So GM technology represents a way for us to fight this fungus in real time, as traditional breeding techniques take around 18 years to produce new potato varieties. So while Teagasc has no commercial hopes for these potatoes, it is difficult to imagine a scenario where if they're found to be safe, that they're not going to be picked up by some commercial entity. So we feel that these potatoes have a big role to play in Ireland, and that public consensus and education regarding them will be an important part of our exhibition.
Hello. So part of our exhibition is going to be a survey that really examines the effects of transparency around GMOs. The survey will be done just before the exhibition to test initial thoughts and biases towards GMOs, and then right after the public have seen the exhibition, to see if there has been any changes in their opinion, and if so, why these changes have occurred. The survey will be completed on an iPad, and the results will be posted live on the TV beside it. This is really so it can be seen by the public, so they can really interact with it. The purpose and layout of our survey and exhibit in general is to cause the public to rethink and really reflect on their opinions about GMOs. This is a representation of the layout of our exhibition that we think will have the greatest chance of really achieving this. Overall, our exhibition does have three kind of core goals. The first goal is the exhibition really seeks to illustrate how GMOs are already entering our food chains and our lives and our homes, and are likely only to increase in scale and scope. The second is to give the public greater clarity and information about GMO products so that they can make an informed choice about them. Thirdly, we want to examine the effects of greater transparency surrounding GMO products with the aim of increasing public trust towards them. Thank you for listening. We've really enjoyed working on this project and hope that our hard work and interest have really come across. We are happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.